Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to make this v-neck line Bubu shirt dress. If this video you're interested in, please keep on watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for the current subscribers and thank you for my returning subscribers. Now let's get right into drafting of this Bubu shirt with button down. I made use of Ankara fabric. You can make use of any other fabric of your choice. And I added belt to the back because that's the style on the thumbnail. I paired mine with a long pant trouser with elastic waistband. I already have a video on my channel showing how to make that. So now let's get right into making of this shirt. First off, you want to fold your fabric into two. I'll be working with a length of 36 inches and a width of 22 inches. I'll proceed now to rolling out my lines. First of all, I'll be marking 2 inches all the way down for my button allowance. So I'm marking 2 inches all the way down, and I'll be marking my shoulder to bust line, which is 9 inches, shoulder to waist 16 inches, shoulder to hip 23 inches, shoulder to length 33 inches. I'll continue with the marking of the lines and I'll extend the lines just as shown. If you are new to sewing, I would advise that you draft this pattern on the pattern paper before you proceed to placing on your fabric to cut out. But because I've done this several times, so I'll just be drafting on my fabric. So after extending the lines, the next step is to go ahead and remove the back pattern from the front pattern. So we are left with the front pattern and we'll continue with the drafting. So first off, I'll mark that 2 inches all the way down. I'll proceed to doing that now. Marking the 2 inches for the button allowance. You can do 2.5 inches, whichever one works for you. And after marking the 2 inches, I'll just rule a straight line all the way down. The next step is to proceed with imputing all our measurements, and I'll be starting with marking my shoulder line. My shoulder is 16 inches divided by 2, that will give me 8 inches. I'll mark 8 inches from the 2 inches starting mark. So I'll mark 8 inches from that 2 inches I marked earlier for the button allowance. So I'll mark my 8 inches both on my starting line and on my bust line, and I'll just connect with a straight line. Although for this pattern, you don't need your shoulder measurements. I'm just using this as a guide because of beginners watching the tutorial. So I'll proceed now. After marking that measurement, I'll proceed to marking 1 inch for shoulder slope. I'll take in that measurement and I'll connect it to a straight line. And after marking my shoulder slope of 1 inch, the next step is to mark my neck width and my neck depth. So I'll proceed with the back neck width and neck depth. I'll be marking my neck width of 4 inches for both the front and the back, but the neck depth for the back will be 1.5 inches, that 1.5 inches. I'll mark that and cover the lines. For the front, I'll be marking 7 inches. You can do 8 inches, you can do 9 inches, depending on how revealing you want your front pattern to be or your neckline to be. So I'll be marking 7 inches for my own front neckline. I'll be going with a V neckline, and I'll just be connecting the lines just as shown for the neck depth. After marking that measurement, the next step is to impute our bust line measurement, our bust round. My bust round is 42 divided by 4, that will give me 10.5. I'll be adding 3 inches of sewing allowance. I'll be adding 3 inches all the way down. So I'll first of all mark my bust line measurement and I'll be imputing 3 inches of sewing allowance to it. I'll go to my waistline. My waist is 38 divided by 4, that will give me 9.5, and I'll be adding 3 inches of sewing allowance as well. I'll go down to my hip. My hip is 44 divided by 4, that will give me 11, and I'll add 3 inches of sewing allowance as well. I'll come down to my length and I'll add 1 extra inch for the hemline, and I'll be marking that measurement as well. So with that, we are done with the marking of the pattern. I'll connect the lines just as shown. If you're a beginner, please take your time in marking out your measurements and adding your allowances. It's a really free top. This covering of armhole in this tutorial is just a guide for beginners. Right now, I'll proceed to the end of my fabric and just mark 1.5 inches of shoulder slope because it's a Bubu Style Shirt. So I'm marking 1.5 inches for shoulder slope, and I'll just connect the line from my neck width of 4 inches down to meet that line. If you don't understand what I'm doing, please just watch the tutorial. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. I'll be sure to reply. Now for my sleeve, I'll be coming down by 11 inches and I'll be marking that as my sleeve length, and I'll just curve out that measurement to meet my waistline. If you don't understand what I'm doing, please just watch the video. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. And if you have watched this video to this point, please don't forget to give this video a like. It helps my channel a lot. It helps you to push out my content. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Now I've gone ahead to carve out my sleeve to meet my waistline. Now we'll proceed to the next step. The next step is go to my button allowance and just go upwards by 2 inches. I'll go upwards by 2 inches or come down by 2 inches from my hip line, and I'll just be connecting that line, just mark it straight up. Then I'll just draw a diagonal line to meet the hemline. It's just to create a opening at the down part so that my shirt won't be tight on my hips. So I'll proceed to doing that now. You can go down by 4 inches depending on how wide you want it to be. So now that I'm done with that, I'm just confirming my measurements before cutting out my pattern. Take your time in cutting out your pattern. Don't make a mistake cutting out your pattern. Watch how I cut out my pattern. Don't make a mistake cutting out yours. After cutting out the pattern, the front pattern, the next step now is to place the front pattern on the back pattern. I'll be folding in my button allowance because there's no button allowance on the back pattern. So I'll fold that in and place it on the back pattern, and I'll extend my lines and cut out my back pattern. Please just watch this part carefully, how I fold in my button allowance and proceed to cutting out my back pattern from my front pattern. Please take your time in doing this step. Don't be in a rush, don't be in a haste. Fashion designing is all about patience. Please take your time in cutting out your pattern so you don't make a mistake cutting out yours. So right now, I've gone out to cut out my back pattern. The next step is to cut out the rope. I'll be adding a belt on the waistline, so I'll proceed to doing that now. I'll proceed to notching my waistline, my hip line, and my hemline. This is optional, but I just do this so that I'll be able to know how to place my fabrics when I'm sewing the side seams together. So now that we're done, I'm just going to go ahead and open up the button allowance and cut out my necklines. So after cutting out my necklines, I'll be making an interface for it. So I'll proceed to, putting the interface underneath the fabric and cut out my interface. You can use a lining piece for this interface, but I decided to use my Ankara fabric since I have excess fabric to work with. So I'll be using my Ankara fabric to cut out the interface for both the front and the back pattern. So I'll proceed to doing that now. After cutting out the interface for both the front and the back pattern, the next step is to cut out the fabric for the rope. I'll be adding a rope to the waistline just to be able to cinch it a bit. So I'll proceed now to cutting out the fabric for that. Unfold is 22 inches. If you open it up, that'll be 44 inches long and 6 inches wide. So that I'll be able to fold it just as shown in the video. So I've gone ahead to do that. I'll be using a soft paper stay to, line my button allowance. So I'll proceed to doing that off camera, and after doing that, I've gone ahead to sew it down, join my interface to the neckline, and I've joined my shoulder seams together. I'll proceed to sewing my sleeve. I'll just be hemming my sleeve, and after hemming, I will impute my belt. After sewing my belt, I impute my belt to my waistline just in the center, and I'll go ahead and sew down the side seams together. After sewing the side seams, I'll proceed to hemming the sleeve and hemming of the down part of the shirt dress. And here's the outcome. I've gone ahead to do that. I've given it a good press. It came out looking nice. It came out looking fine. The belts are in place. So right now, the next step is to impute a button. This is a very simple tutorial, a very easy shirt to make. You can make this by yourself. I'll be imputing the button on 4 inches allowance. I'll be marking 4 inches for the, allowance for the button spaces. You can do 3 inches, but I'll be doing 4 inches all the way down. So I'll proceed to doing that off camera. And here we have the finished look for the shirt dress, the Bubu shirt dress. I'll go ahead and hem it round, and here's the finished look. It came out really looking nice. I love the fit. I love the outcome. It came out really, really looking beautiful. You can make this a very simple tutorial. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Don't forget to like, subscribe to this channel, and leave me a comment. Thank you for watching my tutorial. See you in my next one. Until I come your way again. Bye.